I'm Andrew Aversa, the creator of Tangledeep. You might know me better by my recording artist name, Zircon, hence the keyboard, or you might know me from some of the games that I've worked on over the last 11 years as a composer and audio designer. Games like Soul Calibur 5, Recore more recently, Tap My Katamari, and Dungeon Mans, which was actually kickstarted and shipped successfully a few years ago. But today I'm here as a game developer, and I've always wanted to create a fully featured RPG like Tangledeep, drawing inspiration from games like Secret of Mana, Chrono Trigger, and Lufia 2, sort of the aesthetic and the atmosphere of those games, as well as more modern dungeon crawlers and roguelikes that I've really enjoyed, things like Diablo 2 and Diablo 3, plus roguelites like Rogue Legacy. I've been working on Tangledeep since 2016 as the sole programmer, designer, and composer. Previously, I've had experience contributing design to games like Dungeon Mans and Return All Robots, and I've also had a lot of experience with software development as the owner of Impact Soundworks. We've created something like 35 different music software products since 2008. So I know how to get stuff done, and I know how to ship an awesome product. And truthfully, I've been designing games for longer than I've been a professional, a lot longer, ever since I was maybe 5 or 6, and I even found a notebook. This is something found at my parents' house, and you can see I'm talking about ideas for an RPG. I've got the different races there and the wandering monster logic. I guess this was some sort of a MUD, maybe it was a dungeon crawler. And I'm even talking about the monster AI. Look at that, aggression. Oh, amazing. So you can tell that making a game like this really has been a lifelong dream. Now, so far, everything for Tangledeep has been funded entirely out of pocket. Again, it's just me doing all the code and design, but we have 3 artists, and there are also tools that have to be purchased. And so far, I've paid for and budgeted all of that through the end of this year. I expect to ship the game by the end of 2017. So the question is, why Kickstarter? Well, there are things that we can do with the art, the animation, and the audio to make this a truly spectacular game. For example, character animations. The game has a very diverse cast of characters, both monsters, playable characters, and all of them so far are animated. But in order to do things like directional sprites, walking sprites, attacking, that takes a lot more time and a lot more money. And that's something that I haven't budgeted for personally. Now, can the game ship without that? Sure, and it would definitely be just as fun, but I think that would go just the extra mile in making it look great. So that's one of the major reasons why I'm doing this Kickstarter. Another thing is that while I'm doing all of the music myself, I would love to have some guest composers on this project. One name that I can share right now is Hiroki Kikuta, who's the composer for Secret of Mana and Seiken Densetsu 3, among many others. And both of those games were some of my very favorites growing up. They had a huge impact on me, and I absolutely love them. So I think it would be amazing to have him and some other guest composers contribute to the soundtrack of Tangledeep. One of the things I'm doing with the soundtrack to Tangledeep is actually producing 2 different versions. The first one uses authentic Super Nintendo-style samples created using Super Audio Cart, but then I'm also doing a modern version with full production using realistic samples and live performers like Jeff Ball on violin and viola, and my wife, Jillian Aversa, on vocals. I'll be doing both versions of the soundtrack no matter what, but the Kickstarter will help me expand the budget for live musicians. Now, if you're thinking $15,000 doesn't seem like enough to finish a game, again, you'd be right, and that's because I'm still going to be paying for the vast majority of everything left for this game out of my own pocket. All the remainder of the item art, environments, UI, characters, monsters, battle effects, status icons, all of that stuff is out of pocket. So just to be clear, I'm not asking for money to finish the game. The game is going to get finished no matter what. I will make sure of that. This is just for that extra mile of polish to really make it spectacular. So let's talk rewards for a minute. I've been involved with 4 successful Kickstarters over the last 5 years or so. 3 of them were music projects and 1 of them was a game, Dungeon Mans. All 4 of them were successfully funded and all 4 of them shipped close to on time, if not exactly on the right day. And one thing I learned from that is that physical rewards are really, really tough. And I think you would all agree it would probably be better if I spent my time making the game as good as it can possibly be, all the features that we want to have, all the polish, the balance, all that stuff. I want to spend my time doing that and not worrying about shipping logistics. So as a result, all the rewards are going to be digital for Tangledeep. But that's not to say that they aren't awesome. Besides kind of standard stuff like a copy of the game and a copy of the digital soundtrack, you can become immortalized in the game itself, starting from your name in the credits, going to having things named after you in the game like monsters or legendary items, to actually contributing design for new creatures or new characters, And then at the very top, you can actually contribute to designing an entirely new character job. So if this seems like a cool project that you're interested in, then the first thing I would say is download the game and play it. I really did not want to come to Kickstarter with just an idea or like a very simple prototype. You can actually play Tangledeep now and have hours of fun with it. It's got a pretty good amount of content, 7 player jobs, over 100 items, lots of monsters to fight, and 13 floors of the dungeon to explore. Now, granted, it is a pre-alpha, so there's going to be a lot more added before the end of the year. But I think it'll give you a pretty good idea of what we're going for here. So if this all sounds good and you want to support the project, the game seems fun, then thank you very much. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate that you're helping me realize my dream of creating this game that I've always wanted to make. And even if you can't back the game, you don't have the resources to do it, that's totally fine. I appreciate just spreading the word. Thank you for that too. So with that, I'm going to wrap up, and as soon as I'm done with this video, I'm going to go right back to working on the game. This is something that I've been doing with pretty much every minute of my free time over the last year, and I couldn't be more excited to keep working on it. So thank you for watching, and thank you in advance for backing the project.